Oh yeah, I watched you.
I'm so excited. Hey guys, we're live. Look at if you guys can see, well they can't see you yet. But we have really come far guys because right now we have an intro screen up. I'm super excited. We'll let the people see you though. But I'm pretty pumped about it. It's pretty
Kind of
sweet.
felt like
Yay! And magically we have arrived. So now they can see you. So this is awesome. That worked. So much for your Ask the Experts technology section. I made that work. So I'm super excited, everybody. So this is our Thursday Ask the Expert session that we've been doing every Thursday at 9 a.m. And today I have some of my favorite experts with me, our team, Sam Cooke and Tom Weigel,
Hello, hello.
the guys who really run the show. Not really.
yeah.
Who runs the show?
We do.
Justin runs.
Just some of the muscle in the background. That's all.
Yeah. You're listening. I see you're watching on live. So, hey, what we're going to talk about today, guys, and I thought this was a really great idea that you guys had, was talk about, the steps to home ownership. So one question I think we often get the most the question I think we get the most often is, like, how do I even start, right? And I think a lot of people don't even buy a house because it seems so daunting and they're not quite sure where to start and things like that. So I think this will be a really great conversation on how to get started, but also what not to do, right? So, and we're not just talking about the 10 commandments of ruining your loan, right? Of how not to ruin your loan, but other things too, right? There's super important things that I think we need to talk about. So real quick, Sam, why don't you introduce yourself for the folks out there who don't know you? I think most people probably know you, at least our HRVA Homes folks. But talk a little bit, Sam, about, how long have you been in real estate now? And tell me about why you got into real estate. What appealed to you?
Okay, so I'm Sam Cooke. Lived in the area since '98. I think what brought a lot of us here is the military. My dad was Air Force for a long time. I've been in real estate going on my third year now. Really love it. And overall, it was picking a career is always something that gets drilled in our heads through school. Worked in a lot of restaurants, did some construction, landscaping. I was kind of always the guy with 3 jobs, and I wanted to kind of take control of my time more and really narrow everything down to something I could focus on, and it would also support a lifestyle that I'm looking to live.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you've come so far in the last 3 years, because I've known you since day one. Even before you were part of HRVA Homes, and I just love to see your growth. It's been really exciting, and I know your clients love working with you. So that's really awesome. Yeah. So Tom, so you're the new kid, right?
I'm the baby.
You're the baby, but it's shocking because it's been a year.
It's been a little over a year. I know, long time.
That's crazy. But a year in real estate is it's like dog years, right? So it's like 15 years to everybody else because it just will give you all the gray hairs and keep you up at night, right?
Yeah, and throwing a pandemic towards the end is fantastic.
Hey, listen, we couldn't start our careers out, right? Because we're all right around the same. I mean, I'm not that far into it myself. I'm on year 3 as well. But we couldn't have all really kicked off our careers without a little snafu, right? Yeah. So I think one of the things I love, Tom, about you, and probably I think a lot of people watching this may already know this because we've been highlighting it, but you've got a unique background anyway because you've done quite a few things. But one of the things we've been highlighting a lot is you're a trained chef.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That was the original plan out of high school.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting when we watch people, their career evolutions, right? All of us, by the way, have all worked in the restaurant industry, which I think makes us a little more resilient when it comes to being in the real estate industry, right? Because we're able to take some of those stressful situations and roll with them a little bit, probably because of our experience in the restaurant industry. But so Tom, tell me a little bit about why you wanted to get into real estate.
Well, I've always enjoyed any part of any working, helping folks, right? It's just a pleasure for me, whether it's cooking and putting food on the plate and watching them eat it, enjoy it, or I've done, like Sam, some landscaping and your transformation of your property, and they come out and are like, wow, that's awesome. I mean, just that inner feeling of putting folks in a great home and knowing you did everything you can all hours of the night to make sure it was a perfect transaction as best as it could be and a great spot for them. So I think it's just called selfish, but I enjoy the feeling inside of helping other people find a good place.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think we all have that in common, right? So, you mentioned all hours of the day and night, and ain't that the truth, right? All of us have worked really, really hard. Sam has been out fixing fences for, 8, 9 hours at a time to help our buyers who are coming in to see their house for the first time, spending an entire weekend, trying to get stuff done. Tom, you have run all over and stayed up late and fought hard to get your clients everything that they should get. So I think it's great. You guys are awesome, and I think that's what people really appreciate about the team. So let's talk about how do you get to homeownership, right? So right now, I think we're seeing a lot of folks that are maybe currently in rental situations, right? Or first-time home buyers that might be moving up, right? This is the time to trade up, right? Or get into the market if you were ever going to, because generally speaking, rates are always good. Mind you, this is May 28th, 2020. Don't come back at me in a year from now asking for good rates, okay? I can't control what happens to the interest rates. I just want to put that caveat out there before every lender starts beating me up, okay? So interest rates can change on a daily basis, but right now, generally, they're really great. So Sam, tell me a little bit about why you think somebody who's renting right now should really think about getting into homeownership.
So I've got a couple people that I'm working with right now that have been renting for upwards of 10 years. And my biggest question to them is, at the end of the day, when you move or they sell the house you're renting, what do you have to show for it? And the answer is absolutely nothing. And really the biggest thing is, if you buy a house, you're living in your own little savings account. All that money that you're sending every month, a portion of that is going pretty much back into your pocket, so that after 30 years, you own the home, or if you want to sell it a few years down the line, you build equity, which means that you get some money out of that sale at the end of the day. And I really don't think that you can put your money into too many different investments. And it seems like, at least in my opinion, what I've seen is real estate is probably one of the most reliable investments around, especially in our area. We have an incredibly stable economy thanks to the military and all of our government officials out here. So it just seems to be the obvious answer sometimes.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you're hitting the nail on the head right there. It's a fantastic opportunity for folks to build wealth. And I think it was Chip Simpkins that shared with us kind of a great, thought process on it. Excuse me, I took a sip of something wrong. That's not coronavirus. But one of the things that, he shared with us was, when you're investing in the stock market or you're investing in a company, and let's say, Coca-Cola, for example, and we've seen this quite a few times, chairmen, CEOs, we don't have control of them maybe, getting out there and saying something stupid that makes the stock tank. And we saw a lot of people, I have family members who lost their entire retirement funds, about 10 years ago when the stock market tanked. And I know a lot of people just recently saw a lot of up and down. And there's really you don't have control over that, right? Unless you're some kind of oracle, right? Which I think that sticks with another guy out there in, what is he, in Ohio or Indiana or something? They call him the Oracle. But he's actually exited quite a few companies recently as well. But I think, with real estate, you really have control on it. And why is that? And one of the things we're really good at is that education piece, right? So it's the data that we use to drive all of our contracts and all of our purchases with our buyers to make sure that they're investing smartly, right? And whether that's resale in the next few years or long-term investment strategy, which is what we really want, right? Because we're pretty much the worst real estate agents on the planet. We want our folks to buy and hold and not sell again with us, right? So we're after them building wealth through real estate, because real estate does increase. And one thing I think I've noticed, I think we've all probably rented here in Hampton Roads. I think I've never had my rent go down, right? So like when you're buying as a potential investment property, that rent's going to grow over the years. So one of the things that you guys are really good at is making sure that we look at their purchase price now. Do the rents in the area support covering that mortgage at a minimum, right? And then what do we know is going to happen in the coming years? Rents are going to go up, right? It's an unfortunate truth, right? Rents go up, they don't go down. No landlords ever come to their tenant and said, "Hey, I really like you, Tom. I'd like to knock $100 off your lease." Like, it doesn't happen. And no, my tenants won't be getting it either, right? That's how it works, right? So that's where, smart purchasing makes sense to your point, Sam. Like, and they can become the landlords and at some point, and somebody else can make the money off of them, right? So,
Yeah.
so Tom, what are you hearing about folks that are just like starting to enter the real estate market?
I think the biggest thing I've been getting recently is the fear of where to start. Overwhelmed. My credit's not good, or I don't think it's good. And then, you try to say, well, where do you think you're at? And like, I don't know, maybe 650. So, and they're like, you're there. Like, it's not as bad or as daunting or as hard as you think.
Yeah.
If you got a decent job and you don't have a lot of debt, most likely you're going to be there, and it's worth the conversation with us or a great lender to see if we can get you there, or if not, at least have a good plan and how long that plan is going to take.
Yeah. So step one would be connecting with us, right? Step one. So super easy, because I agree, it does seem overwhelming. And I think people kind of miss it, miss the boat by not just exploring it. And seeing. So step one, finding a good realtor. But can we make a suggestion for that? Interview. Right. Well, okay. Well, like, obviously we think we're great realtors, right? But we're not a fit for everybody, right?
No. Yeah, talk to a few.
Yeah, it's important. Don't worry, you'll come back to us because you'll like us so much. It's fine. And you'll see that our programs are pretty great, and we're real focused on making sure that, as we talked about, you're educated. But don't you agree that it's good that they find the agent? And we have a lot of folks that are watching right now. We actually have a lot of folks that are watching right now. So guys, if you have comments or anything, please feel free to comment. We're ready to take them. I think we have folks that are watching from around the country, and so we can also help them find a great realtor because we are Keller Williams agents. We have contacts with more agents in one company than any other company in the world. So worldwide. So it's pretty great. In fact, we just helped some folks in overseas find an agent. But I think you're right, Tom. I think people get overwhelmed, and the question is, where do we start? And I think the first start is with finding a great agent.
Correct.
Yeah. So when they're looking for an agent, what should they be looking for? Either one of you.
So when you're interviewing an agent, you have to understand that they're representing you through probably the most expensive purchase you will ever make in your life. So you want to make sure that they are knowledgeable, not only of the process and that they share that knowledge, but also of the local market and what you're specifically looking for. If you are an investor looking to buy your first investment and you're working with somebody that might not necessarily cover that a whole lot, be beneficial to, as you said, interview a couple of people, find somebody that has helped investors in the past and knows our local rents compared to many things. I know you can get really deep in that rabbit hole of investments, but you want somebody that's knowledgeable.
Yeah, I totally agree. Tom, what do you think they should be looking for?
I think a good support system, right? I mean, we've got a great team. We've got great people around us. We've got great local knowledge. When it comes to military knowledge, Erin, you probably surpass any one of us 10 times over. And that's fantastic because we have that ability to reach out to you and get that information and help folks if we don't have the answer, right? There's nothing wrong with not having the answer, but do you have a good way and a great source to get that answer? And how hard are you willing to work to find that? And that's what I think we all do, is just to make sure no matter when it is or how we do it, to get that right answer for you. And showing the support system that we have, whether it comes to the area or certain programs or lending, just having great people in our back pockets that we can work with.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is a team effort. I mean, and that was one of the things I think that was right on. And one of the things that I think that kind of makes us so good is Sam, you hit it saying having local area knowledge is so vital. We have had quite a few clients come back to us that have purchased probably in areas that weren't aligned with what they were looking for their plans and their goals, right? And then we've, had to work very scrambled to try and help them. And sometimes it's disappointing. So if you start out with an agent that has that strong local area knowledge to make sure that whatever your goals are for your real estate needs, that area is going to make it, but also to the person that's attention to detail. I talked to buyers yesterday that were under contract for a home, not with us, with another firm. And it was a real mess. The house itself was a real mess. There were a lot of things that could have easily been discovered by their agent. And the location was not one that was going to fit for their investment purposes, right? So they were looking for a rental market, and there was no rental market there. There's data that you and we all know is easily pulled, and we can do that. But Tom, I totally agree with you, because having HRVA Homes as a team and a support network is fantastic. Because how hot is this market right now? It's on fire. Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. Right. It's so great for sellers and buyers. Like, it's great. It is the perfect market in my mind. It just takes work, right? So it takes really good agents to get it done. And what's great about having the team, like you were mentioning, Tom, is we're all here as backup for each other. So if I'm in Williamsburg showing a property and my clients need to get into something in Virginia Beach, you better believe, what do? We all talk. Hey, who can open a door? Who can get this done? Can somebody go open this door to start this home inspection? So I'll come in afterwards, all those things that we need to get done. We've got Hope and Justin behind the scenes who are really just like the ones that are getting stuff done, right? Justin, not so much, but Hope for sure. So we have them behind the scenes. And then, like you mentioned, we have amazing lenders. We have one of the best credit companies in the world that we work with for folks that maybe just need a little bit of help. Stephanie Adams, who was on our Ask the Expert about 2 weeks ago. So we have that good team that I think is really good. And I think that's an important thing to look for. I definitely agree. All right. So now I'm the buyer and I've picked my agent. So what do I do then? What is my agent going to have me do?
Education.
That's the first thing. Yes. So your agent should be sitting down with you. Yes. A buyer consultation. Yes.
We don't have to sit in person anymore. We can do it over these wonderful gadgets called computers and phones.
Which is awesome because it makes it time-wise more flexible in a hot market, right? So even if we're being healthy, right, and safe, but I think from a timing perspective too, it's pretty great. Yep. It's pretty awesome. Now, what's a buyer consultation going to do for me? And why do I want to do that? Why don't I just want to go look at houses?
So what blows my mind is that I've worked with a handful of people that have bought and sold multiple times over the past few years, and they've never sat down with a real estate agent and talked about the process. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to spend $250,000 or more, I want to know what to expect. So our buyer's consults is when we sit down, explain the process, general overview. We have some amazing tools. My personal favorite is the Low Monopoly Roadmap that we continue to tweak and perfect, and just to know what to expect. Oh, I'm going to have to pay money for things like inspections or appraisals and what that means and why it's beneficial to me. Why am I spending this money on stuff? It's to protect your interest and make sure you're getting a good home. And just to explain those things like negotiated repairs that some people may not understand. I work with a lot of buyers that I know are very afraid, especially when we're looking in places like Suffolk, Norfolk, places that have 100-year-old homes. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure you have somebody in there because I don't know about you guys. I'm no inspector, contractor, engineer, or any of those things, but we've got some exceptional inspectors that we get in there. I have seen these guys crawl through attics in 98-degree weather in the summer, and they get every single corner of the house. So just to explain those things, to know what you're looking for, how much money you're going to be spending, and when you should start thinking about actually moving into your house.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Tom, how long do these usually take?
The what?
Buyer consultations.
The buyer consult, it's 45 minutes, maybe an hour of your time, depending on how much we laugh and have banter back and forth.
Which is usually what doubles that whole time, just letting everybody know. Let's be real.
Start going off little squirrel chases about the great restaurants over there or something over here.
Yeah, that's exactly. We get real excited about helping people and sharing knowledge about the Hampton Roads area. That's for sure.
But like, I mean, to Sam's point, I mean, if you're talking a couple $100,000 or more, I mean, what's 45 minutes of your time to make sure you're making the best purchase and understanding it's your money, where's it going, how is it spent, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things, and you guys know this about me, right? If you don't want the buyer consultation, I'm gonna make you put it in writing, right? You're gonna email me. I'm a stickler about that stuff, right? Like we're offering this to you. It's really truly a benefit for the buyer, and it's gonna help us too. Because what do we know for sure? If we don't sit down and have that conversation, because part of that conversation also includes going through the MLS and really digging into what's available out there in the budget and what honest expectations should be, right? Like, so, because what the worst thing on the planet is HGTV, right? Like the potato farmer and his wife who makes origami paper airplanes and have $1 million budget that's not a real thing. Right. So everybody, or Pinterest, like I'm addicted to Pinterest still, right? It's been like 15 years, but I still love it. But, those kind of things don't really give us a realistic expectation when we're buying a home. So sitting down and having that conversation, I think saves a lot of frustration later. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And those questions that you ask yourself at night, like, oh man, I wonder what's next, or what's this going to cost, or how many days until this happens, right? That's all laid out ahead of time, and then a great timeline that's given to you at some point down the road as well.
Yeah, and what happens right now in this market is we see that there's no time to waste. So if we can get that done out of the way, right, when we find that perfect home, we can move on it with no questions asked. Everybody understands the process and really knows what's going to happen instead of going, whoa, and potentially missing out, because that happens right now. Does it not? I mean, this market is
all the time, every week. But Erin, can't I just look on Zillow and just figure it all out myself?
The Z word. Okay, so let me say this, right? So my theory is I'm never going to stop a buyer from looking on Zillow. I wish I could. I really wish I could. But we're not going to be able to. And here's the interesting thing. So we have the multiple listing service here in Hampton Roads, what we call the MLS. Right. And so I think a lot of people don't know what that is. Right. So that's the website where we all take all of our homes, all of us agents, as we put homes on the market, and we put that data into that multiple listing service website, and it generates the MLS and all the homes listed available in a search. Zillow comes along and scrapes that information and does a really poor job of scraping that information off of our multiple listing service and pumping that out to the general public with a bunch of information that is often incorrect and not of any use or value to any buyer whatsoever. Like a Zestimate. Yeah. What? Oh, the disclaimer on the bottom is fantastic. Yeah.
We could be wrong by this much %, which is huge.
Yeah. Consult a real estate expert. That's what it says. So I actually do have I have a former Zillow executive on my my Facebook, so we'll see how much if I get a message later. But my thought process is, right, I'm not going to be able to pull somebody away from Zillow. So part of that buyer consultation I think is so great is for us to explain here in the Hampton Roads area in HRVA, we delay to Zillow. So here's another really, really big benefit of making sure you're working with a realtor in advances. There is a 3 to 4 delay between the MLS and Zillow getting the information. They are not allowed to have it for 3 to 4 days, right? So we really want to be your first source. But not only that, how frustrating is it to us when we get a list of homes from Zillow? 5 or 6 homes, and what do we have to go back and tell our client generally?
They're all under contract.
Correct.
Yeah. And what does under contract mean? I just went through this with a client yesterday. God love them. But under contract does not mean we can go in there and get it, right? It doesn't mean, there's a difference between under contract and they have offers, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So under contract means they are contractually obligated to begin working on an offer that they received, right? And they've said yes to that offer. And now they're in this stage of, depending on where they're at, of home inspection time period, or due diligence period, whatever you may call it, right? Short sale period. Can we ask if they'll take backup offers? We can. Does that generally happen?
Rarely.
No. So when you're searching on Zillow and you bring us a whole bunch of addresses that are already under contract, you're going to get frustrated, right? So that's where that buyer education, that buyer consultation, I think is so helpful to ensure that we're alleviating some of that frustration. Now, before we start sending them listings, though, right? Speaking of frustration, what do they need to do? Because we don't want to send them listings that they can't get, right?
You got to get pre-qualified.
Yes, you got to get pre-qualified or pre-approved. I like pre-approved more. But you got to get pre-approved, right? And so we have awesome lenders that we can connect you with. And why should they listen to us about lenders?
Well, again, when you're trusting somebody with the biggest purchase of your life, wouldn't you want somebody that's well respected and known in the area? Or I know I've had this happen where it's like, oh, well, I called the 1-800 number. It's like, okay, well, your lender lives 5 states away, and they have no idea what anything in our area costs. And costs are important when it comes to how much money do I need to buy this house?
Yeah. Yep. Very, very true. And not only that, oftentimes when they're calling these 800 numbers, right, especially our first-time home buyers, when they have a question and they can't call on nights and weekends, that's pretty rough. Or in a hot market like we're in right now, if we need to write an offer and we can't get a pre-approval letter, did we just lose the house?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no 3-4 day wait time on houses.
No.
Right.
No. Also, we have been seeing some pretty large delays from non-local lenders in closing, which is forcing a lot of sellers, including our own HRVA homes sellers, to require local lenders as well on their purchase. Because we don't, in real estate transactions, typically time is of the essence, right? And time periods are really important. And people have to move on to other houses and things like that. So we won't allow our sellers to get stuck in a position with a lender that we know generally causes delays, right? So, and it's important to carry on our tradition of education that we want to connect everybody with lenders that are going to be a great fit for them, right? And are going to continue the education process, right, on the background of the loan.
Correct.
I think that's so important. So once they have that pre-approval letter, then we can get them some houses to look at, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And go through and really kind of know to avoid any frustration, because nothing's worse than thinking that you can do a $300,000 house and really finding out that in order to not be house poor, $275 is probably more where you want to be. We're not going to make anybody house poor, right? We want everybody in their comfort zone. So if you've been looking at $300,000 house, to come back down can sometimes be a little disappointing. So we don't want to go down that rabbit hole for sure. But because rates are so low now, your money's worth more, right?
It's true.
Yeah. So where you could have afforded a $275,000 house maybe a month or two ago when rates were higher, you might be closer to that $300,000 range now that rates have come down, which is good, right?
I mean, how exciting is it that, hey, you can buy more house and pay the same monthly payments?
Yeah. And that's another reason.
House is not rent.
Yeah, God, no kidding. Well, and especially since there is never, I would venture to say there's never been a better time to say that you can definitely buy for less than your rent.
Yeah. Very much agree.
Yeah. This rental market's been pretty interesting. So one of the things I think is really cool, and I know like we're a very busy society right now, so we should probably talk a little bit about our different options to get everybody, without going into too much detail, right? Because we want them to come to the buyer consultation to learn more. But, we have some really great virtual options, right, to include for home tours. So I know you guys have both had clients who are really, really busy. And so when we don't have a lot of time on the market, isn't it great to be able to run out, get the virtual home tour, come back? So, if they really want to see it, we'll get in there and make the time.
Yeah. I know I've been working with a handful of people, got some investors as well, or people that are considered essential in the moment that they need to buy. And with our market where houses disappear a day, I mean, I've scheduled showings at houses before I get there, they have contracts.
Yep.
So you work till 5 o'clock and that house hits the market at 8 a.m., the odds of being able to take your time and view it, they're slim to none. So being able to have somebody out there that can put eyes on the property and share that with you much faster than you could if you had to coordinate schedules and take off work. It really is giving, at least I know my buyers, and I'm sure a lot of your buyers, a competitive advantage.
For sure. Absolutely. And Tom, you've done that quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, even if it's just to pump the brakes a little bit and slow down or eliminate some stuff, because pictures we all know aren't the greatest. In both directions, sometimes they're terrible and it looks much better, and sometimes it's terrible and it looks terrible. But just so we can get that trust, right? So we've had this conversation. We've been working for a little while now. We've got this trust built up. I know what you like. I know what you like. And you can rely on me to go in there and eliminate or help or at least point out the things that are important to you and say, is this right or is this not good for you? And just save time, and start knocking. We can take a list of 10 and eliminate it down to 1 or 2 strong ones for you to get into quickly.
Yeah, no, I love that. I totally agree. And I think one of the things that is so valuable is building that trust, right? So knowing that we're 100% here to make sure that you get into the right thing, and get it for you, right? Like, we're going to pull out all the stops. You guys are awesome negotiators. You guys have both done some things, and I'm like, holy cow, they just got that done. Like, and negotiated some amazing deals for your clients, and I'm like, I'm always in awe of when that happens. But be able to get out there and really kick some butt, right? Like, and find those houses and get into them quickly is going to continuously be vital, right? So,
Yes.
So what kind of don'ts should we be asking of our buyers, right? Like, so what kind of things should they not be doing?
Now you got some good stuff for this, Tom.
I'm thinking, there's different stages, right? So now in my mind, immediately we're under contract at this point, right? The biggest thing is to not screw it up, for lack of better words. Don't make big purchases. Don't go out and take out a bunch of credit cards. Somebody told me, or I learned or heard before, G&G, gas and groceries. That's it.
Yep.
Nothing else. And if you're going to do it, reach out to us, and then we can either answer that question or reach out to the lender and get them in touch with you to answer that question before you do it. Because just because you're in contract and pre-approved and you're going down the path, you can just as quickly mess it up. And it just takes one click of a button sometimes online to do that.
Oh my goodness, yes. Do not buy a truck the day before closing. We have a favorite lender that called me not that long ago to tell me that happened to him with a client, and I was like, ugh. Yeah. Gas and groceries is just about it. They can buy all the new furniture and all that stuff after the fact.
Just wait till you're in there.
Yeah. It's worth it.
I think you also nailed it with the reach out first, because things happen sometimes. I actually recently had some clients under contract, and what happens when your car dies? I mean, the engine falls to the ground, or you do need to make some purchases. They reached out first. We talked with the lender. We figured it out, and everything was fine. And they actually did still get their new car and their new house. But you just have to make sure. The surprise is what kills people. When you show up the day before closing and you're like, you didn't have that BMW before. What's going on, man? And then you get that final credit check. It's like, oh, more paperwork.
Yeah.
Or
nothing.
Worst case scenario is,
Yeah.
And that might lead to people not knowing how close to the closing table they actually recheck everything, right? And make sure.
Well, and right now they're checking it the day of, the morning of.
Right.
So in some cases, not every case, right? So yeah, like zero. Like, you cannot do no fun, right? Buying a house is fun. No other fun. That's the fun you get to have, right? After that, we'll go with you. We'll go to the car dealership with you, right? We'll make sure you get a good deal. We'll negotiate another deal for you if we need to, right? Let's just get the house closed first.
Yes.
Get a new car smell, please.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I was pretty tough last time I bought it. Well, the only time I really bought a car. So I was all right. I did okay. So one of the things that I like to talk about with my clients, and this goes back to, I guess, reaching out as well. I mean, I think so that might be the overarching theme, is making sure you connect with one of us, is don't listen to the armchair real estate agents, right? Like, don't take your advice from somebody that's actually not actively working in the market, that is not providing data, right? So my uncle brother's cousin is probably not the guy that I'm going to get real estate advice from, who is not a real estate agent and is not actively participating in some manner or form where he's going to have real data, right, on the market and the market conditions. That's not who I'm going to get advice from. Right? You want actual real estate professionals. Because I think, and especially at least for our team, we are 100% the type of agent that will say, now's not the time for you, if now is not the time for you. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't encourage people to get into homes or sell homes if it's not the right thing for them entirely. Right? And if it's something that's just not doable, it's definitely not something we're going to make somebody do, right? Because we have really good reputations, but we also genuinely care about people. So I think that's important. Are we getting a guest? Are we getting a guest here? Oh, we have a guest. Also, too, so another thing to remember, if Tom Weigel is your agent, you must know in advance that he is incredibly scared of cats.
I might hide behind you when we walk in the door.
Yeah. If he starts crying, you just know in advance. In fact, that's part of your buyer consultation now, right? You just let them know. Hey, just a heads up.
It definitely comes out towards the beginning that I don't like cats very much.
It's my favorite. I think the ones where we don't know there's a cat in the house and they just like pop up is probably my favorite. That's the best. Yeah. Yeah, I like it a lot. And most of our friends, Tom, including Sam, have cats. So I think you and I are the only ones without cats. Like, everybody else has cats. And it's like, what's the appeal? I don't get it, Sam. I mean, sorry, cat lovers. We still love you, too. Don't, like, that. You can just work with Tom or with Sam. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is to get connected with the team, to just see what's out there, what's possible. And armchair real estate agents, the other thing is too, we hear all the time that people need 25% down.
Ooh.
25% down. I don't have a 20% down payment. That's not always true. There are so many programs out there that do not require 20 or 25% down payments.
And one that's really popular in our area, too, with all of our wonderful military. The VA has really pushed out some amazing mortgage options as far as, very, very low with no down payments.
Yeah. We're going to do a VA discussion soon to talk about how you can buy a home, no money down, if you have VA benefits from the military. So, by the way, no money down does not mean no money, right? You're still going to pay a little bit of something, but it's not that bad. And if you have a buyer consultation with us, we can break the numbers down for you. On average, it's about $2,000. So
it's not much more than a rental payment.
Yep. A deposit on a rental for sure. And we can teach you how to build wealth utilizing your VA loan. So, all right, guys, in closing, just to get people motivated enough to have a conversation with you, what do you want to add in there?
It's free.
Yeah, it costs them nothing. And working with a buyer's agent generally, right, doesn't cost them anything.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, I know a lot of us are spending a little time inside. I'm sure most of us in the last week have spent more than 45 minutes on Facebook, watching Netflix, or just staring out the window. So if you could take, 45 minutes of your time, it really could change your life. I don't know about you guys, but I know that going from one place to another, it has drastic effects on just my daily mood, how I feel about every day. When you get to wake up in something that you're happy and you feel proud of, it changes.
Yeah, for sure. And 45 minutes, even if now is not the time, 45 minutes to get educated so that in the future, when you're ready to buy, you have the knowledge is totally worth it. And by the way, we don't mind doing that.
I love it.
That's what I was going to say. It doesn't bother me. Let's go over it. I enjoy it. Like, why do you do it? Why do you help these renters? You're not making money, if anything, off of it, right? It's more the satisfaction of one, still getting them into a place if we can't get them something else. But just education, it doesn't bother me. I get to learn while I'm out there. So reach out. Let's have a conversation. We got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
One bite at a time. They eat the elephant, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I read reviews on Zillow, Tom. I know your clients have fun with you. You guys get out there, look at cool houses. They already know what to expect. There's no weird surprises. It's a good experience.
Yep.
Yeah. And hey, the most important thing you can do is educate yourself, right, on the market, and know that even if now, is not the time, that you're paying attention so that when it is the time, you understand the market and you can even watch the shift and the changes in the market as the market grows, because that's going to come too. All right, guys. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys doing this with me today. And guess what? I showed you guys my intro. Well, you guys can't see it, but I also have an outro here. So I've gotten very fancy. So I'm getting ready for our upcoming virtual open house that you're doing, Sam, on Saturday. And Tom, with your cooking with your agent session on Sunday. What are we cooking?
We're making General Tso's chicken and General Tso's tofu.
Nice. Two versions. So that's great. All right. I'm putting the outro on, and then I got to figure out how to turn off the live. I don't know how that works. So,
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
I want to hear this.